Very good, friends. Doc South saying hey, and I'm back from my cardiologist with a very good report. Yeah, yeah, the doctor who has been taking care of my heart now, gosh, for almost 15 to 20 years, came in and said, hey, that stent we put in your heart? I don't know. Again, I think it was about 18 years ago, something like that. I said, yeah, sure. The one right here? He says, yeah. And don't be a dummy. He says, of course, that's where it is. Where do you think we put it? He said, I know where we're going to put it next time. Well, hopefully there won't be a next time. But he said, no, he said, yeah, yeah, quit your fooling around. I just wanted to tell you, he said, that stent is just as clean as the day we drilled it into your heart. I said, really? After all these years? All those chili dogs and milkshakes and stuff and, gosh, ice cream I eat? He says it's looking good, pal. He says you're doing something right. Of course, they check well, I go in about twice a year for a checkup, but then they run this particular test. I want to say it's a nuclear stress test, I think. And they run you again about every, I think, like I said, about every year and a half, they run me through the mill. And like I said, good report. And I got to say, I do feel great. I do feel great. Um, the, uh, you're on a treadmill till you think you're going to pop. Uh, and they again, like I said, it's sort of like they're shoving you into a cannon. Yeah, yeah, muzzle first. Yeah, and you're in there for a while, and the device is getting all sorts of pictures of your chest. And when it's done, I guess they have a way of seeing how the blood's rolling through your heart. I know I did see my chart once from what it was like when telling what it was like rather when I went in the first time, and yeah, I needed help. Mm. So I know. Here's what happened. I had this. I was just going to go get the mail. I had a business down in Long Valley. The post office, well, it was up the street. I drove up to where the deli and the post office and such, the bank, were all kind of near to one another. Parked my car. I figured, I'd go to, I'd get me a coffee, make my deposit, and then I had some checks to mail out to various people I've done business with. And so I said, well, it's a nice day. I'll just walk to the post office. There's a little grade, I'd say, from the deli's door. I'm sorry, the bank's door to the post office. Maybe you'd have to walk about 100 yards, and I doubt it's even a 4-foot climb. Well, long story short, about a quarter of the way, I started slowing down, and I mean slowing down. And then all of a sudden, my chest felt kind of funny, and I'm walking slower and slower. And pretty soon, I couldn't put one foot in front of the other. I'm standing there thinking, what the heck is, and my chest was kind of like it was on fire. And I said, oh, this don't feel right. Hey, wait a minute, where have I seen this before? Yeah, back when I was an EMT. I said, oh my God, my heart's acting up. Oh, well, I slowly turned around and somehow I got back to the car and drove back to the store, told Sandy what was up. And she said, you better call our doctor. And I called our regular doctor. He said, get right down here. Let me see what's going on. He listens to me. He says, okay, your heart's in trouble. He says, you're not going to, this is the way things sound. You're not going to keel over right here, but I want you to go down, get yourself down to and he gave me a number for a cardiologist in a neighboring town. And it was this particular doctor. Um, I go into that doctor's office. They rush me right in. Yep. He says, okay, let me listen to you. He listens. He says, let's try you on a treadmill. I'm going to put it on a very slight grade. Says like this, like that. Okay. That much of a grade. We're gonna put you to a crawl. Let's see you walk. And I walked, I'd say about for 30 seconds. He shuts the machine off. He says, get off that thing before you die. Holy crud. He says, boy, is your chest clogged. Your heart is clogged somewhere. I said, what? He says, the arteries, he said, you told me you were in rescue at one time. It's your heart arteries. They're the coronary arteries. One of them's clogged. You're basically, you're not quite having a heart attack yet, but you're close. He says, I want you here. I'm going to give you some medicine. I want you, by sometime next week, I want you in the hospital for a stent. Or at least we're going to examine you, and I think you're going to get a stent. I said, what's that? He says, well, he says, it's a new thing. It's, we put them in, we put these stents into your heart artery, the clogged artery. Again, this is not necessarily the artery that's supplying blood to your body. This is an artery that's supplying blood to your heart muscle. You need it. If it clogs up, that's a heart attack. You know that. I said, yeah. And I got one. He says, well, yeah, everyone, you can get them. He says, they happen. He says, and I started looking pretty worried. He says, look, you're looking worried. Tell you what, you just got to go real easy for the next few days. I'm going to give you, take some, he gave me medicine to take. I think it was like an aspirin, et cetera. That kind of opens things up a little. He says, I think you'll be okay. You should be okay till you get to the hospital next week. We're going to book you and call you, and you got to be there. And you're getting the stent. It's an operation on your heart, but he says, I'm telling you right now, it's no big deal. Well, I said, okay. He says, honest. He says, listen, if you get it done, that's your wake up. After you get it done, that's your wake up call. You start eating better. You're a little too fat. Yeah. He wasn't pulling any punches. He says, maybe you're under some stress. You got to work on all that. But you get that stent and work on the weight and all that baloney. He says you're gonna be amazed how much better you feel, especially for a guy your age. You're way too young to be having one. And I said, well, okay. He says I'll see you bright and early Thursday at the hospital in the coronary operating room, or the room anyway. I said, really? He says, yep. He says, I think he said something to the effect of, and if you aren't there, I'm going to come find you. And your wife and I are going to drag you down to the hospital. And we may rough you up a little. I said, okay, no, I'll be there. And, doggone, that operation that I was worried about, as operations go, was a piece of cake. It was nothing. About the only thing is you're laying there buck naked to the world, but that's just how it goes. By the way, I don't think they do that anymore. I think they can, you can just, it's not like, like something out of Ben Casey. I think you basically sit in a chair now. A friend of mine who just had stents said, geez, doc, I just sat in a chair and they went right up the vein of my elbow. I said, really? You didn't have to get naked or nothing? He says, no. It was, so, evidently times have changed. And so there you are. I'm just saying. Okay. It's funny in the hospital, too, especially being a DJ and being on the radio and all that. People knew me. Yeah, it was kind of weird being the only one naked running around, being pushed here and there in that hospital. And all these people coming up, wishing me well and saying, hey, you DJ'd a party for me. My God, you remember my daughter's wedding? Oh, my God, that polka party. Hey, how you doing? So I'm pretty naked right now. Yeah, well, yeah, that's all right. You're in a hospital. It sort of happens in the hospitals. But it was, actually, I look back now, it was amazing, the improvement. And like the doctor said, when they set that stent, and and put it in action, you could actually feel the relief. I I have no way to explain it except if you were there to feel it, you'd know what I mean. If you've been through such a thing, you know what I mean. There's all of a sudden just this gush of blood going through your heart in a proper manner, and boy, does that feel good. So again, if you have even the slightest of heart trouble coupled with weakness and like that, uh, don't mess around. Don't mess around. Go. And like I said, the doctor today said, and then you got to sort of change some of your habits. More exercise, better food, calmer life, and you'd be surprised. 20 years later, you'll be saying, it was a piece of cake, and minus the icing. Okay? So I'm just saying, keep that in mind. All right. We'll see you later, friends. Thank you, and God bless. Okay? Bye now.